Elevation 44. I'm B for those of you who are new. Welcome to the channel. If you're returning, welcome back, family. Today, well, tonight, because it is late, I want to bring you all the details on the Leo full moon, okay? So we have a full moon coming up on Thursday, January 28th, and that is going to be happening at 2:16 p.m. and that's Eastern time, so make sure you translate that to your local time zone, okay? So this full moon is going to be at 9 degrees, and 9 is usually considered the number, or is synonymous with endings or completion, right? So that we can start again at 1 and begin. But 9 is also the number that is tied to inner truth, or that inner wisdom. It is also the number that is tied to humanitarianism. So basically that energy that comes in to really think about what is best for the group, for all. Of course, if you're tapping into this humanitarianism and you're tapping into this energy, which is very Aquarian-like, and we're right in the middle of Aquarius season, we're talking about having selflessness, right? Which is a lot of what Aquarian energy teaches us, but is very opposite to what Leo energy brings in, which is, more about, self-identity or the ego. So it's more focused on self and self-preservation and self-advancement. But, it doesn't mean that Leo energy is just like completely stingy or whatever. Like, that Leo energy is very warm, it's very generous, but again, it's tied more to the ego or the self-identity aspect of it versus of the collective and doing it for really fulfillment of all, for the collective, for the society, making everyone better, okay? So this full moon in Leo, in particular, what is it helping us do? It's helping us kind of tap into those inner reserves, to our inner strength, to our inner courage, to also to apply that wisdom, right? That knowledge, and taking it and translating it to wisdom so that we can step forward. If we talk about wanting to make things better, make this world a better place, then that requires, again, doing things that we haven't done before. That requires courage, that requires new ideas, and that requires execution, because even though that Aquarian energy is helping us tap into those new ideas and envisioning something and coming in to change something, we need that Leo energy for follow through and execution. So this Leo full moon is definitely bringing that to the forefront for us as well, because we have to make our decisions confidently, courageously, but also we have to do it with generosity and authenticity, especially if we're building something that is better and it's not, we're not focused on just building for ourselves and in our little pods anymore. We're focused on building for all, and that requires a whole different set of skills to be brought to the forefront, okay? So if that is what we're doing, we definitely can't be timid. We got to step into that full Leo energy, which is that bold, like, look at me now, I'm in the spotlight, I'm about to make it happen. We're activating that within to, push ourselves in the right direction. So we have to be able to confidently step up to make the change that we want happen, all right? So let's talk about the facts about this Leo energy right quick. The element that is associated with Leo is fire, so this is very action-oriented. The quality or mode is fixed, so again, this is that follow through, that completion, to whatever is started type of energy. The planet that is associated with Leo is the sun. The house that it rules is the 5th house, which is the house of fun, creativity, romance, children. This is really a house about self-expression, okay? The polarity, which we talked about just a while ago, is Aquarius, and so that means that's the opposite energy of the Leo energy. And again, if Leo is focused on advancing the needs of self, Aquarian energy is focused on advancing or focus is on the needs of the collected or others. So that is that polarity or that different balance that we have coming in with those two different energies. Some of the gifts of Leo are generous, creative, loving, warm-hearted, a strong leadership ability, courage, confidence. Some of the challenges with this energy: self-centeredness, bossiness, stubbornness, showy, prideful or egotistical, same difference. So those are some of the things that we would definitely need to keep in mind as this, Leo energy comes out. We want to utilize and pull from those strengths, but not lean so heavily into those challenging aspects, okay? So what is the focus of this Leo full moon? Now, we talked about this or touched on this in the beginning, but there are two things that are really coming to mind here for this energy. The first being it calling us to bring more loving thoughts to the forefront, especially in terms of loving thoughts for the greater good. So basically, if we're right in the middle of this building stage or this idea stage of building something completely new and completely different, because everything has been torn down and is being torn down to be restructured, we have to come from a space of love in order to build something that is good and good for everyone, right? And that's really tapping into that Leo energy of that warm-hearted generosity, those loving, because it does rule that heart center and that heart space and is connected to the heart chakra. So, allowing that energy to come in and help guide us in that way is one of the focuses. The second focus that's coming into mind is Leo's energy is all about leadership. It's the leader of the pack, and not in the same way as Aries, because people think of, Aries being the leader. Aries is the initiator, Aries is the starter, but Leo is the true leader. Like once Aries has gotten the ball rolling and pushed things forward, Leo is going to make sure everybody gets in line, everybody's got their role, everybody's doing what they're doing. We're going to complete this and make sure this gets executed. So again, going back to their qualities of cardinal energy being more tied into the Aries, which initiates and gets things started, and that fixed energy of Leo being that follow through, that determination, that completion, okay? So as Leo is the sun, is connected to the sun, and the sun is the center of our solar system, Leo is that leader in the center that literally has all the pieces rotating around it. And so we got to lean into this energy to help us activate the leader within each one of us, to help us step up to the plate and courageously make the decisions and do the things that are necessary to move us forward, okay? So this is all about taking the knowledge that we have amassed, okay, not only individually but collectively, and now turning it into wisdom. Because what is wisdom? Knowledge applied. We're applying what we've learned to say, this is what works, this is what doesn't work, and this is how we need to move forward, okay? And that takes courage, that takes leadership, that takes inner strength, all of those Leo traits for us to build something that is greater for all of us, right? So this is really definitely calling us to step up to the plate, because we have to, right? Things are not going to get built on their own. Decisions are not going to be, things are not going to go in a different direction until we decide, and we actually not only decide, we actually follow through and move on it, take that action, which again is tying right back into that Leo energy, okay? So if you want to understand what area in your personal life that this impacts you in, like what area or focus of life do you want to make sure that you are aware of, that this is affecting, you want to definitely look at your own natal and transit chart. I always leave the link down in the description box below. And on this chart, you're just going to look for the area in your chart where Leo rules and see what house that's over. And that house will give you an indication of what area of focus that is in for your particular life. Because I'm just speaking to the collective energy, but then we're also impacted individually in different ways. So it's like two layers, right? We have the top layer, which is the collective, and then we go down another layer, which is our own personal things that we are dealing with. So definitely look to that if you want more insight. So let's talk about the transits that are happening at the time of this full moon, because it is a little, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this energy is pretty tough. It's like, I was looking at it, I was just like, oh gosh, like, can we get a little break? But you know, it is what it is. We just have to roll with it, okay? So we are really in some tense energy, which is gonna kind of try to work against what we're trying to do in terms of trying to sow seeds of doubt in our minds. So we have to really be aware that the doubt and the things that are popping up to the forefront aren't necessarily your fears driving you, more so as the energy influencing and bringing those things up. And it's a good time to actually work on those things, which we'll talk about when we get into the rituals. But let me talk about the transits that are happening. The first major thing that is happening, and we're only talking about the transits in relation to the moon because we don't have time to be talking about all the transits that are happening in general. If you want more insight on that, please go to my Aquarius season video where I talk about all the major transits happening during Aquarius season. I'm gonna leave that down in the description box or put it up here somewhere so that you can check that out. So the moon's transits, okay? The first major thing that's happening, or the real major thing that's happening, honestly, is we're having a T-square. Now, what is a T-square? A T-square in astrology is when you have two planets that are opposite each other. So think of polarities on opposite sides, right? And then you kind of have a third planet hanging out on the side over here, right? That is squaring or having tension with those two planets that are opposite each other, okay? So just think about a triangle going on here. And this is all like tense energy because that square is tension and that opposition is opposition. So it's conflicting energy, all right? So this is what is going on during this full moon. So what is happening here? The moon is going to be opposite the Sun, Saturn, and Jupiter, which are all joined together, all conjunct together, blending their energies together in Aquarius. So the Sun focusing on our ego and our identity, Saturn focusing on our responsibilities and limitations, Jupiter focusing on our faith and our outlook and our expansion. With it opposite this Leo moon, we're talking about the tension of finding balance between our inner needs and our outer needs, which are always present in a full moon because you always have the sun and the moon that are opposite each other during a full moon, right? But this is also bringing in, again, that pessimistic, negative thinking and doubt, which is what I talked about sowing those seeds of doubts in our minds, making us think like, yo, you can't make it happen. This is not really going to work, or can we do this, or I've never seen it be done before. All of those things start coming to the mind, all those pessimistic, negative thoughts, okay? So your ability to pursue what you desire comes into question. Not only that, but you start to also question your own beliefs and start to have concerns about the future. So again, I want to just remind you that this is more so the energy's influence, and don't fall too deep into this because this is just kind of what the energy is bringing, and you have to work and push past this, okay? Another thing that's happening with the moon, so I remember I told you about, so that's that opposition, that's that conflicting energy that is happening. Now that third group of planets that is sitting up on the other side of the triangle is the square that the moon is having with Uranus, Mars, and Lilith. And again, the square is tension, okay? So Uranus bringing in change and unpredictability, Mars bringing in action and energy, and Lilith, which is our raw primal instincts, are all in Taurus together. They're all they're all merged together and blending their energies over there. So with the moon, having tension with those three over there, this is talking about fast changing moods and impulsive reactions, being impatient, short-tempered, and feeling very rebellious, okay? So this energy is really tough, and I'm sure you have been seeing how this has been playing out. You can see people are just kind of on a short fuse because this energy is not contained to one particular day. We start to feel these energies, before these transits actually happen. and we can feel them, you know, as the transits are, you know, moving out of position as well. And if you're energy sensitive, that is especially true. You definitely pick up on these energies and all the subtleties of energies, okay? So I just want to remind you of that. Now, what is also further emphasized is that remember that group of Aquarius planets or Aquarian planets I told you, the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn hanging out over in Aquarius. They're also having tension with those 3 planets hanging out in Taurus. So they're having a square with Mars, Uranus, and Lilith in Taurus. So that is further emphasizing, okay, unpredictable behavior, angry outbursts, ego wars, aggression, and anxiousness. So this energy is tough, y'all. This energy is tough, and I just want you to be gentle with yourselves and remind yourselves whatever thoughts that come up to the forefront, however you're feeling, to allow yourself to release and, you know, like breathe through it and release, and really remind yourself that this is just the energy that is at work right now, okay? It will pass. It will pass. So the last thing I will say is the moon is going to also be trine Chiron in Aries. And trining is just a harmonious exchange of energy happening, but this is really giving us, so in Chiron, if anyone's new to it, Chiron is really our highlighting more so our inner wounds, the deepest wounds that we carry around within us that we're here in this lifetime to really heal and overcome. So this is giving us an opportunity with the moon trining Chiron to find self-healing and to release all of the doubt if we learn to follow our intuition. So the doubt that is coming in with this other energy is really here to challenge us so that we can push past that, so we can find some self-healing in that area. So this is how the energies are working. So try to make them work for you and not against you, and don't fall so heavy into their influence, okay? Just chill out. All right, so some of the herbs that I would recommend you working with are going to be great for strength, vitality, healing, protection, and success. So the first one is calendula, also known as marigold, and it's just a beautiful flower, and I love calendula. I love working with calendula. The next one is sunflower, rosemary, cinnamon, any citrus, so oranges, limes, bergamot, any of those, you know, citrusy, lemon, any of that type of stuff. And then also frankincense. So those are the herbs I would recommend. Some of the crystals that I would recommend you working with this energy also are tapping into courage, confidence, optimism, and success. So we're talking about tiger's eye, citrine, carnelian, sunstone, amber, and smoky quartz, okay? So let's get into the rituals, which is why I know a lot of you tune into these videos. And the ritual I would suggest, the first one is learning how to strengthen your intuition. So doing a ritual around strengthening your intuition. So this is, again, tapping in back into that inner wisdom, that inner truth, that inner knowledge, and knowing when to trust yourself, okay? So there are several things that you can do. So here's some suggestions under this. First, you need to take the time and the space to listen to yourself, because if you're busy and distracted and you're moving about, you're not going to really hear the messages coming in from yourself. So one of the best ways to do this is definitely meditation. It allows you to, for a second, to get out of your thinking mind, okay? And I know that's hard sometimes when people say they try to meditate and their mind is racing, right? But allow yourself to get out of your thinking mind just for a second, just to relax enough to feel things, to allow yourself or your emotional intelligence to kick in. When certain thoughts come to the forefront, how does your body react to it? Do you stiffen up? Do you tighten up? Do you loosen? Does your heart race? Do you know what I mean? Do you start sweating? Again, you know, following those those physical cues to allow you or to inform you on how you feel about certain things, because that's usually your higher self speaking to you and letting you know, like, hey, I'm comfortable with this, I'm not comfortable with this, you know, I need to work through something. Like, in order to again, to pick up on those cues, you really have to give yourself the time and the space to allow yourself to process that, or to allow that emotional intelligence to kick in. And if you're on the go, go, go all the time, and you don't take that quiet time, and even if you're not just sitting in meditation, but just like, even if you're just sitting in your car for a second, or just catching yourself for a second and just allowing yourself to relax enough to feel, then that can help inform you in, especially as you're making decisions, especially as you're using your discernment, right, to navigate through decision making or anything else. That is going to help you a lot. Okay, so this helps you identify those feelings much easier because you are putting yourself more in a relaxed state. The same thing for breath work, right? If you do some breath work, breathing is to relax the body, because if you're tense, that's like resistance. And when you're resisting all signals and communication and everything coming in from your higher self. So allowing yourself to relax, or find ways to relax you so that your body can pick up on those cues. Okay, so I would definitely recommend that. Another thing under this strengthening your intuition bucket is definitely paying attention to your dreams, because when you go to sleep or when you're dreaming is when your subconscious mind actually takes the driver's seat. Okay, so your conscious mind moves to the back of the car, and the subconscious takes the driver's seat. And a lot of the times, the things that we refuse to acknowledge, or we push away in our conscious mind, when we're awake and moving about, those things are coming to the forefront while we're asleep. So in our dreams, we are definitely getting a lot of messages and things that the subconscious mind is trying to tell us. So paying attention to your dreams, reviewing your recent dreams, just thinking about things and messages that you have been receiving there. And what has been coming to you in that department. And the last thing under this bucket of strengthening your intuition is reviewing past events, okay? And allowing yourself to honestly say, from these past events, like, what happened? How did I feel about it? What decision did I make? What choices did I make in those situations? How did it play out? And could I have made a different choice because my intuition was actually telling me to go in that direction, and I pushed it off and I decided to go in another direction? So coming to a realization, or sitting to think about those types of situations in which you have ignored your intuition, or you have suppressed that in order to move in a different space, and then it not, turning out how it should have because you didn't listen to yourself. Man, that was a mouthful. All right. Okay, so then the second thing in terms of rituals, so that was all under the strengthening your intuition bucket. The second thing in a ritual space that I would think about doing is all about building self-confidence, because again, Leo is at, that step up, that confidence, that leadership, that I'm in the spotlight, I'm gonna, gather all the troops and get them together type of energy. So a lot of us do need, to consistently, even people who are confident need to consistently strengthen their confidence, and people who lack self-confidence definitely can utilize this energy for boosting themselves. So this, a good exercise under this is a values alignment, okay? The first way to move confidently, or to be, sure about who you are and what you're doing, is to know what you stand for. So that is all about naming your values. What do you believe in? What do you stand for? What is a no-go for you? These are the things that, if you have not created a list and identified, this is where you need to start, because you can't move confidently and make decisions and move in any direction unless you know who you are, where you're going, where you came from, that type of thing. And those really inform your values, okay? So what do you believe is right, even if others criticize you for it? Like, even if you got flack for it, you would still be able to say, I'm confidently moving in this direction because this is what I believe wholeheartedly. This is what I stand for, all right? Those are my recommendations for the rituals. So my Leos, where are my Leos at? Where are you guys at? Shout out your Leo placements down below. Sun, moon, rising, Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, whatever you have in Leo, put it down below, and let me know what you're looking forward to doing with this full moon energy. I try to get really creative with the rituals and really play it in on the energy so that you can utilize it to your, you know, your best advantage. So let me know how you like those too, and I will see you all in the next video. I hope you have a good full moon. And if you're new to working with full moon energy, I will say I have a video, I'm gonna link it again, that talks about how to work with the full moon, the best time to work with it, and all of the other rituals that you can do during a full moon. So I will link that also down in the description box below. Have a good one, guys. Peace.